Business Book Summaries.
Hello, everyone! Today, I'm excited to talk about Dale Carnegie's famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. In our modern world, it's really easy to find a lot of books about self-improvement and how to communicate better with others. Some of these books focus on theory, others on practical tips, and some look at things from a psychological or sociological point of view. It's important to remember that Dale Carnegie was one of the first to talk about these topics. His articles, written about a century ago, laid the foundation for everything that came after in the field of self-improvement and communication. Now, with so many theories out there, we often wonder which ones will stand the test of time. Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People is a classic that we keep coming back to. There's a saying that reading a good book is like having a conversation with an interesting person. This book not only covers the topics we've mentioned, but also opens the door to Carnegie's philosophical world.
Before we delve further, remember that we regularly share new content. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell for the latest updates.
Let's dive deeper into how to win friends and influence people. The book is divided into three main parts. First, it talks about the book itself, taking us back to basic, timeless social principles. Then, it looks at Carnegie's life, helping us understand why his book is still so relevant. Finally, it explores Carnegie's overall philosophy, including his other works, and highlights his lasting ideas and methods. Starting with the book, it teaches us about making friends and influencing people. It shows a path of personal growth, from learning simple social skills to gaining respect and eventually leading and inspiring others. This journey matches the two main ideas in the book's title, Making Friends and Influencing People. When we think about making friends, it's like the old saying goes, taking the first step is crucial. Many people try to show their best side to make friends. But Carnegie, over a century ago, realized that this approach doesn't always work. Think about it. The word I is used so often in our daily conversations. This shows that even when we try to understand others, we often end up focusing on ourselves. For example, you might try to impress someone by telling an interesting story, helping them with a problem, or choosing a nice restaurant. While these actions are meant to make a good impression, they can sometimes come across as trying too hard to please others. Carnegie believed that the real key to making friends is showing genuine interest in them. People crave attention, but we often forget to give that attention to others. This is a central message in Carnegie's book. So, how do we show real interest in others? The book offers practical tips like smiling, remembering names, and taking an interest in other people's lives. These ideas might seem simple, but remember, Carnegie was the first to organize and present them systematically over 100 years ago. He didn't just list these methods, he brought them to life with engaging stories and real-life examples. Take the idea of showing interest in others. Carnegie would ask people if they believed in astrology, not because he was interested in it, but to find out their birthday. He would then remember to wish them on their special day. Imagine how special you would feel if someone you barely knew remembered your birthday. This is how Carnegie built a wide circle of friends. Another way to show interest is through listening. Carnegie once met a botanist at a dinner party. He knew little about botany, but listened so attentively that the botanist later praised him as one of the most interesting people he'd ever met. This shows that good listening can be more impressive than talking a lot. Carnegie also emphasized the importance of sincerity. Only genuine interest in others will bring the results you want. Pretending to care can backfire. Reading Carnegie's book is like having a friendly chat. His examples are relatable, his principles are clear, and his advice is easy to follow. He doesn't overwhelm you with big changes. Instead, he guides you through small, meaningful steps. This approach makes How to Win Friends and Influence People a timeless guide in the journey of personal growth and effective communication. In Dale Carnegie's seemingly simple books, we find a wealth of practical guidance that showcases the power of sincerity. We've already explored how Carnegie emphasizes sincere attention towards others as a key to winning friends. But making friends is just the beginning of interpersonal interactions. The next step is learning how to influence others effectively. Carnegie famously stated that professional knowledge accounts for only 15% of one's success, with the remaining 85% depending on interpersonal skills. He highlights the crucial role of these skills in shaping both our careers and personal lives. So, how do we influence others in our daily lives? Commonly, we rely on persuasion, appealing to either emotion or logic. Carnegie, a skilled orator who grew up in Missouri, where people often say, "Prove it to me," used his eloquence to influence others. However, he found that this often led to debates, disagreements, and a sense of distance between the parties involved. From his experiences, Carnegie concluded that debates rarely produce winners, and that persuasion is not always the most effective way to influence others. What, then, is a better alternative? Carnegie believed that influencing others starts with understanding and tapping into their core desires. Whether in business, politics, family, or education, arousing a genuine desire in others is key to persuasion. The book shares an example involving Andrew Carnegie, the American steel magnate. Andrew's two nephews, studying at Yale, often neglected to write home or respond to their mother's letters, causing her distress. Andrew made a bet of $100, claiming he had a technique that would get his nephews to reply without directly asking them. He wrote them a letter filled with light banter, but mentioned sending money, which he deliberately omitted. The nephews quickly responded, first with pleasantries and then asking about the forgotten money. When discussing leadership, it's crucial to understand its essence. Leadership isn't just about rank, power, or resources. It's about the ability to influence, inspire, and unite people towards common goals. Leadership is more about connection and purpose than authority. To influence or lead others, we should avoid boasting about our strengths or the grand outcomes of following our lead. People naturally dislike feeling restricted or dominated and prefer the freedom to choose and act independently. To influence effectively, one must create a connection between the individual and the task, invoking their innate desire to participate willingly. But how do you bridge the gap between where someone is and the action you want them to take? The book suggests using the secret of Socrates, which involves guiding someone towards agreement without room for dissent. For example, the book tells the story of Eddie, a bow hunting enthusiast. When he called a store to rent equipment but found rentals unavailable, the clerk, using a gentle and persuasive approach, convinced Eddie to buy a complete bow set instead. This story illustrates the subtle yet powerful influence of Socratic wisdom. Reflecting on Carnegie's insights from how to win friends and influence people, we see two fundamental human fears: being overlooked and feeling constrained. To build genuine friendships, Carnegie advises offering sincere attention to others, addressing their desire to be acknowledged. To influence people, we need to tap into their aspirations, enticing them to act willingly. An effective method is to ask gentle, leading questions that guide them to a positive conclusion. Reading How to Win Friends and Influence People offers a layered experience, particularly resonant for those who have faced adversity. The question of how such a nuanced book came to be and what drove its widespread acclaim leads us to delve into Carnegie's personal story and the era he lived in. This exploration helps us rediscover the book through the lens of its creator's journey. Before even opening this influential book, the cover featuring Carnegie's portrait, his large ears set against his slight build, speaks volumes. It's a nod to his humble beginnings in Maryville, Missouri, in 1888. Dale Carnegie's books, though seemingly simple, are filled with cheerful mischief and practical wisdom, much like the young boy he once was. Growing up during a time when his family's finances were tight, young Carnegie quickly took on his share of farm labor. His daily life was a mix of school and chores, riding to town for classes and rushing back to tend to the farm, milking cows, trimming trees, and feeding the pigs. Despite these challenges, he maintained an unyielding optimism, likely inspired by his mother. She managed their farm with cheerful resilience, even singing as she worked to restore it after flooding, never dampening Carnegie's playful spirit and always encouraging his educational dreams. Carnegie's formative years unfolded during the Gilded Age, a term coined by Mark Twain to describe the period between 1870 and 1900, when America experienced a surge in fortunes. This era saw a massive influx of European immigrants, boosting America's workforce and industrial growth. Missouri, Carnegie's home state, was at the heart of America's geographical crossroads, benefiting from transportation advances and burgeoning trade, making it a thriving hub during the Gilded Age. The year 1904 was monumental for St. Louis, Missouri, as it hosted the World's Fair and the third modern Olympic Games, the first on American soil. Carnegie, just 2 years out of high school, was immersing himself in college studies and quickly stood out by winning a speech contest with tales of his nostalgic childhood. This victory wasn't just a fleeting moment of glory, it became a cornerstone that shaped his future path. Within a few years, Carnegie graduated and excelled in sales, but his wanderlust and ambition led him beyond Missouri. After a brief stint in acting and facing financial realities, he pivoted to teaching public speaking, aligning perfectly with his talents and experiences. As Carnegie's career was gaining momentum, the world plunged into the turmoil of the Great War. His service in the U.S. Army added to his life's tapestry, and upon returning, he diligently wove his experiences and writings into sought-after publications. However, the American dream faced a severe test with the economic crisis of 1929, collapsing the real estate market and causing chaos on Wall Street and Main Street. Amidst this bleak backdrop, Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People emerged, not just as teaching notes, but as a beacon of hope. His extensive research, including studying psychological literature and engaging with figures like President Roosevelt, now served a nation in desperate need of upliftment. The book's critical reception and Carnegie's enduring maxims, especially the belief that success is attainable with conviction, resonated deeply with a disheartened populace. The New York Times lauded Carnegie as a symbol of American resilience, akin to the Statue of Liberty, emphasizing that his story was not an isolated success, but emblematic of the American ethos. Carnegie's life, soaring through the exuberant Gilded Age, serving in the trenches, and weathering financial storms, presented an authentic snapshot of the American experience during a time of rapid expansion, societal optimism, and national zeal. Americans were encouraged to experiment, dream, and pursue the belief that dedication yields results principles Carnegie not only embraced, but also helped forge in a society pulsating with dreams and trials. How to Win Friends and Influence People stood as a pillar, rich with guiding philosophies, illustrative case studies, actionable methods, empowering narratives, and memorable quotes. It became a support system, akin to a suspension bridge, buoying people in their journey over life's turbulent waters. This book continues to inspire enthusiasm and hope, securing its place as a remarkable triumph in publishing history. Throughout his lifetime, Carnegie produced a multitude of works, each infused with enduring ideas and accessible approaches, offering insights still relevant today. His books consistently showcase his sharp observations on human nature. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, published in the tense aftermath of World War II in 1948, focuses on mastering anxiety. Carnegie begins by pondering why modern individuals are prone to worry, identifying hasty decision-making based on insufficient insight as a major factor. He notes that, while quick decisions once ensured survival with minimal effort, aligning with instincts, our contemporary context often leads us to act without thorough thought, resulting in anxiety. To combat worry, Carnegie suggests a reflective approach when faced with professional dilemmas. Write down 4 probing questions. What is the worry? How did it arise? What potential solutions exist? And which solution seems best and why? However, his strategy doesn't stop at post-worry analysis. Proactive habit adjustment to prevent future concerns is key. His practical advice for preempting worry includes engaging in activities to eclipse anxious thoughts, dismissing insignificant trifles, and using probability to assess the likelihod of worrisome events. If an event is unlikely, he advises learning to let go. Dale Carnegie's books, brimming with cheerful mischief, mirror his own youthful spirit, full of energy and playfulness, even in the face of challenges. As a young boy, with his family's finances stretched thin, Carnegie quickly adapted to farm labor. His days were a blend of attending school, and returning home to a flurry of chores from milking cows to trimming trees and managing kitchen scraps for the pigs. Yet, underlying all his activities was an unyielding optimism, a trait he likely inherited from his mother. She, with her cheerful resilience, managed to sing while restoring their farm after floods, never dampening Carnegie's playful spirit and continually fostering his educational ambitions. Carnegie's early years were set against the backdrop of the Gilded Age, a term coined by Mark Twain. This period, spanning from 1870 to 19, was a time when America's fortunes were rapidly growing. It was an era marked by a significant influx of European immigrants, which bolstered the nation's industrial march. Missouri, where Carnegie grew up, was strategically located at America's geographical crossroads, benefiting from the era's transportation advances and burgeoning trade. This made it a flourishing center for the commerce that defined the Gilded Age. The year 1904 was particularly significant for St. Louis, Missouri, as it hosted the World's Fair and the third modern Olympic Games, marking the first time they were held on American soil. Carnegie, just 2 years out of high school, was deeply immersed in his college studies. He distinguished himself by winning a speech contest, recounting tales of his childhood. This victory was more than just a fleeting moment. Carnegie soon graduated and excelled in sales, but his ambition and wanderlust led him to explore beyond Missouri. After experimenting with acting and confronting financial challenges, he pivoted to teaching public speaking, a field that aligned perfectly with his talents and experiences. As Carnegie's career was taking off, the world was engulfed in the chaos of the Great War. His service in the U.S. Army added a new dimension to his life experiences. Upon returning, he diligently combined these experiences with his writings, leading to the creation of sought-after publications. However, the American dream faced a severe test with the economic crisis of 1929, which devastated the real estate market and wreaked havoc on Wall Street and Main Street. Amidst this challenging backdrop, Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People emerged not just as a compilation of teaching notes, but as a beacon of hope. His extensive research, including studying psychological literature and engaging with figures like President Roosevelt, now served a nation in desperate need of upliftment. The book's critical reception and Carnegie's enduring maxims, particularly the belief in the power of conviction, resonated with a disheartened populace. The New York Times praised Carnegie as a symbol of American resilience, akin to the Statue of Liberty, emphasizing that his narrative was not just an individual success story, but the embodiment of the American ethos. Carnegie's life journey, which spanned the vibrant Gilded Age, his service in the trenches, and his resilience through financial crises, presented an authentic snapshot of the American experience during a time of rapid expansion and societal optimism. Americans were encouraged to dream, experiment, and believe that dedication leads to success, principles that Carnegie not only embraced, but also helped shape in a society brimming with aspirations and challenges. How to Win Friends and Influence People stood as a testament to these principles, rich with guiding philosophies, illustrative case studies, actionable methods, empowering narratives, and memorable quotes. It became a support system, akin to a suspension bridge, helping people navigate life's turbulent waters. This book continues to inspire and offer hope, securing its place as a remarkable achievement in publishing history. Throughout his lifetime, Carnegie produced numerous works, each infused with lasting ideas and accessible approaches, offering insights still relevant today. His books consistently showcase his keen observations on human nature. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, published in the tense aftermath of World War II in 1948, focuses on mastering anxiety. Carnegie begins by examining why modern individuals are prone to worry, identifying hasty decision-making based on insufficient insight as a major factor. He notes that while quick decisions once ensured survival with minimal effort, aligning with instincts, our contemporary context often leads us to act without thorough thought, resulting in anxiety. To combat worry, Carnegie suggests a reflective approach. When faced with professional dilemmas, write down 4 probing questions. What is the worry? How did it arise? What potential solutions exist? And which solution seems best and why? However, his strategy doesn't stop at post-worry analysis. Proactive habit adjustment to prevent future concerns is key. His practical advice for preempting worry includes engaging in activities to eclipse anxious thoughts, dismissing insignificant trifles, and using probability to assess the likelihoood of worrisome events. If an event is unlikely, he advises learning to let go. Carnegie was not just a keen observer of human nature through his writing, but also an exceptional speech coach. His teachings went beyond the superficial aspects of speech, such as articulation and gestures. His real strength lay in his understanding of human nature, which proved to be a game changer in the world of speech training, influencing generations of speakers. Consider his book, The Art of Public Speaking. People often think that strong content is enough to engage an audience, even without a powerful voice or crisp enunciation. However, Carnegie contended that the manner of delivery is even more critical than the message itself. We've all seen speakers who are eloquent but fail to connect with their audience, often because they haven't mastered the art of delivery. Carnegie argued that public speaking, at its core, is a form of communication, specifically a one-to-many interaction at a certain remove. If a speaker wants the audience to understand and agree with their message, they must first respect the audience's feelings, and how the content is delivered can make or break the connection felt by the audience. Understanding this, the rationale behind various speaking tactics becomes apparent. For instance, adapting your tone to fit the characteristics of your audience is crucial. Carnegie advised speakers to employ a conversational tone, noting that this includes much more than just the sound of the voice. It also involves the choice of storytelling, expressiveness. If speaking to community residents, the aim would be to achieve the warmth of chatting with neighbors, touching on topics like the local environment and family relations. If the audience is composed of sales professionals, the speaker should aim to strike a chord of peer-to-peer camaraderie, addressing the realities of sales targets, market climates, and work-life balance pressures. The gap between a competent and a lackluster speaker isn't in the substance of what they say, but in whether their range of speaking techniques can make the audience feel part of an equal, natural, and engaging exchange. Achieving this level of comfort in speaking, akin to everyday conversation, invariably demands a lot of practice. Carnegie warned against a common pitfall in speech practice: imitating others. While copying can lead some to quickly replicate a set of speech skills, it fundamentally contravenes the essence of true communication. It begs the question, would you rather listen to a concert or a speech? Chances are, you wouldn't pick the speech. The sameness encountered in speeches today can make audiences uncomfortable, a sentiment exacerbated by the prevalent culture of learning through imitation.
We're keen to hear your thoughts on our content. Feel free to share your opinions or recommend books in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest summaries. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.